that the board be and is hereby authorized to take all necessary steps to give effect to the above resolution. There are notes to the notice, including proxy, closure of register of members, e-dividend, and the rest of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kano. Am I to read my report or have it taken as read? Thank you. I will now ask the representative of external auditors to read the auditor's report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the Board of Directors and management team here present, distinguished shareholders. My name is Babayomi Ajijola, representing Ernst & Young. The independent auditor's report can be found on pages 91 to 98 of the annual report and financial statements. In the interest of time, may I crave your indulgence to read the first two paragraphs where we have our opinion and take the other pages as read. Our opinion. We have audited the consolidated and separate financial statements of AIICO Insurance PLC, the company, and its subsidiaries, together the group, which comprise the consolidated and separate statements of financial position as at 31 December 2023, and the consolidated and separate statements of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the consolidated and separate statements of changes in equity, and the consolidated and separate statements of cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the consolidated and separate financial statements, including material accounting policy information. In our opinion, the accompanying consolidated and separate financial statements give a true and fair view of the consolidated and separate financial position of the group and the company as at 31 December 2023, and its consolidated and separate financial performance and consolidated and separate cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with IFRS accounting standards as issued by the International Accounting Standards Board, the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the Insurance Act 2003, and relevant policy guidelines issued by the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, the Investment and Securities Act 2007, and in compliance with the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Amendment Act 2023. Thank you. Yeah, we take the other paragraphs as read. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babayomi. I will now ask the representative the chairman of the audit committee and independent director and director's representative on the committee, Mrs. Samela Zuberu, to read the audit committee's report.
Good morning, distinguished members of AIICO PLC and my colleagues on the board and on the Statutory Audit Committee. In accordance with the provisions of Section 404, subsection 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, we members of the Audit Committee of AIICO Insurance PLC, having carried out our statutory functions under the Act, hereby report as follows. We have reviewed the scope and planning of the audit for the year ended 31st December 2023, and we confirmed that they were adequate. The company's reporting and accounting policies, as well as internal control systems, conform to legal requirements and agreed ethical practices, and we are satisfied with the response to the external auditor's findings on management matters for the year ended 31st December 2023. Finally, we acknowledge and appreciate the cooperation of management and staff in the conduct of these duties. On behalf of my fellow colleagues, Sir Raymond Yu Njoku, shareholder representative, Ms. Funke Augustine, shareholder representative, Chief Robert Igwe, shareholder representative, and Olurutimi Okpaisi, directors representing Leapfrog, we have signed the audit committee report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samela. As the first item on the agenda, I hereby lay before you the report of the directors, the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2023, the statement of comprehensive income of our company for the period ended on that day, and the reports thereon of the auditors and the statutory audit committee. To ensure that we answer your questions accurately, please refer to the pages on the report and accounts to which your question relates. I would also suggest that the members should be brief in their comments and restrict questions to one or two to afford opportunity to many shareholders to contribute. We can start the question answers in case if any questions answer on the reports and accounts. Okay, please.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, directors of our great company, fellow distinguished shareholder, good morning. My name is Okezia Boniface. Mr. Chairman, we want to applaud you for 5 kobo dividend, but that is not where we should be as a company. AIICO have grown beyond that, Mr. Chairman. You cannot tell me how much other insurance companies are paying. But there's some people who are paying 20 kobo, 30 kobo, 40 kobo. Mr. Chairman, if you look at our performance on page 008, total assets of 318 billion, gross written premium 11 billion, 110 billion. Mr. Chairman, profits after tax 12 billion. Shareholders fund 51.4 billion. This is not longer a younger company, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I believe you can tell me the volume of share that we have today will not create room to pay enhanced dividend. Mr. Chairman, I will challenge you on page 16 and 18. 16 and 17. We must begin to look, if we look at our retained earning, Mr. Chairman, is hitting the roof from 10 billion to 19.6 billion. Mr. Chairman, we can begin to deploy the retained earning, maybe to do a kind of buy-back shares. Mr. Chairman, it could be 1 for 2, it could be 1 for 5, because a lot of companies in back of reconstruction which shall change shareholders, and they don't want to go that route of share reconstruction. But with this then earning, that gives you ample opportunity to begin to plan, to pay on shareholders on a current price, as it could be 2 years, it could be next year, it could not be immediately. It could be next year, it could be the other year. At least you must start planning towards it. that will buy the share back and cancel some. That's the only way you can pay a high enhanced dividend of 50 kobo or 80 kobo. Based on our 1 naira, you can see the echoing. Based on what AIICO is doing, the balance sheet is looking stronger and bigger, but it is not reflecting in payout dividend to shareholder. People will not see what kind of dividend we're receiving, that the management is working tirelessly. They are working, but it's not reflecting in deep pocket for shareholders. Mr. Chairman, that is my appeal this morning. It could be done with that, I'm giving you the lead way, either by share returning or profit. That year, you may escape paying dividend that year, say we are buying back this quantum of shares and pay back to the shareholders. And they will be grateful. The bigger owners will also enjoy the dividend. Because if we are continuing to pay 5 kobo, 2 kobo, it will not catapult the capital appreciation to show you a good work the management is doing in transforming this company. I know today, most insurance companies is not doing well. That's agreed. There's no doubt. But for people, ordinary man to appreciate the enormous job he have done, and board have done, great company. It can only be reflected, and some uninformed people will not understand why this dividend is so like static year in year. But that's the problem we are facing. That's the challenge. But high time we begin to address this issue once and for all. Mr. Chairman, take much of your time so that give ample opportunity for the shareholders to also aid their view. I want to congratulate Secretariat for timely sending this annual report. With our registrar, Coronation, they are doing excellent and fantastically. Mr. Chairman, Donald is doing a great job. I want to commend him because that's the only face that we can interface among the board, our management. It's one time we see the MD at the meeting here. So, Chairman, we showed you once in the meeting here. But that guy is doing a great job. I want to appreciate him and the company secretary members because it's a collective job. It's not him alone. I want to applaud him. And to shareholders representative in the audit committee, Mr. Chairman, I think it is high time that one of them begin to take the chairmanship, not the directors. Chief Njoko Sanjoko for the insurance company, he knows deep on the running of insurance. And him there can be a chairman of the audit committee. They are three, this one are two. So it's called for election as to who to be chairman among them. It is not the board to dictate who chair the audit committee. It is the shareholders that will let themselves, So if they come by vote, three can defeat two. That's my position this morning, Mr. Chairman. So this can be taken into consideration. I don't have much to say. I think I'm saying a word is enough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Boniface. We have taken note of your questions and we'll answer it appropriately. Please. I'll come back to you. I'll come. Please. Yeah.
The chairman. Very distinguished fellow shareholders, other directors. For the records, my name's Nona Awu. I am not likely to go this route, and for two principal reasons. First, I'm taller than he is. us, the minority? Who? Who is representing us? Because if we had a representative, before long, we will have told you that don't do Kumole, you should be doing Fusoke. Because the way it pinches us in terms of what we have invested differs. The mindset of a corporate investor, and you must put all of this together when you take the decision that you take. But much unfortunately for you, is the minority that helps to make the price, because they also don't see value to a large extent. You are not likely to go beyond the 1 naira range. Because if you look at your share price, by the time you go over 1 naira, almost immediately you are going back to below 1 naira. Okay? So the minority does not have share appreciation, and the minority does not have a good yield in terms of its investment. And I don't think that is the way you are going to be able to compete in the industry that you play in. So the third major area that I also think that you should be open to discussing is that you need to be a little more open when it comes to information. Every time you take an annual account, and that annual account does not express himself or herself, depending whether you are an English or a Dutch, because the Germans will call annual account female, and the English will call it male, is that it must disclose to the point that you are asking only minimum question. But that is not what a number of us that have used your account have found. And if you look at the notice of the meeting, it indicates on page 11. And then you look at the project page on page 199. Both are silent as to directors' fees. And I know that one of the answers that you'll be advised to give is that to say that because you haven't. Because you know the irony, if you do pay director's fee without we giving you approval, somebody can go to court. Can go to court. And then you then say, oh, minority shareholders are now creating problem for us. But it's not true. So let's learn to do the things and do them right for the benefit of all of us. But I also do have an issue around what I just mentioned. Because I'm told that the director's fee is paid at the end of the 4th quarter. Again, I can't understand the justification. If I sit on your board, and what you will pay me as at when the board meeting ends or the committee meetings end is basically the sitting allowance and travel expenses. And then you want me to wait for 12 months before you are paying me, then there's something also wrong in your approach. I will be suggesting that going forward, learn to pay your director's fee on a quarterly basis, because that also helps your cash flow. Rather than paying everything in one lump, and then, and of course, for instance, you are bringing a lady or some directors in the middle of the year. So if you are going to pay them at the end of the year, that also has its own implications. So I will be hoping that going forward, your position will be that you are going to consider having to pay on a quarterly basis. The third major area that is of concern to me. By the way, let me combine the issue of fees with the issue of membership of the subcommittee, of the subsidiaries. I noticed you introduced a lot of ADCs that are sitting behind the directors. And counting when you were introducing, the number that you have there is much more than the number that you have on page 83 to 89. But I thought one of the ways that this will have been better done, other than the few that you've put in there, just to have a few lines and indicate who the senior officers are. So we can also use that as a basis of tapping and monitoring the succession planning of the company. Again, money would not do any work if it's not put to use by man. So let's also know the men who use money and the other resources to generate more wealth. That is the aspect that I also think that you haven't done well in. The other aspect has to also do with the membership of the subsidiaries of the board. These subsidiaries have boards. There's no disclosure here as to who sits where and who chairs what, other than the executive that you have mentioned. Again, I know you probably will say you provided information, but please don't provide passport-size information when people have put money in the company. Provide full head to toe or toe to head. That is the only way anybody will appreciate what you are doing. On a final note, Mr. Chairman, I also do think very seriously that if you did a bonus in 2021 and in 2024, following the performance in 2023, for you to be coming to say you want to do a share buyback, then it means that something was ab initio wrong with our strategy. Something is wrong, okay? But it will be important, given that two major parties on our board control significant size of the paid up. It will be important that you also give us as to why it is coming at this point in time. I also want to remind you, even before the bonus, there was a rights issue. Okay? And I say all of this because anybody who is buying investment is not just going to buy you as to, oh, if he understands investment anyway, he's not going to buy you because this is the reports that you have given in 2023, in 2024 for 2023. He's going to take a few steps back and ask, where are they coming from? And if he's uncertain as to where you are coming from, the chances, even when you tell him where you are headed, he's not likely to believe you. So I'll be hoping that going forward, Mr. Chairman, one of the things you do is to make sure that you carry us both in body, in spirit, and in soul, so that we can understand what you're talking about. But I don't think I will also be fair if I don't end on the note of me having to pay premium, comprehensive, and you give me a refund in fuel. Who is the major company that we are partnering this with? Or if I do comprehensive, I can just walk into any filling station and take whatever I want as equivalent of that. And then that brings me to the issue of your CSR. I think the CSR needs to be policy driven, because looking at this, both for last year and for this year and for the previous years, I cannot specifically say this is what our CSR is aimed to achieve. It shouldn't be all commerce game. Even if we are going to do all commerce, let's have a good chunk of what we want to spend go to specific areas, and then the crumbs can then go to everybody else. It's on that note that I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. But please do remember, the shareholders want you to dance, oh for what? Oh for soke. Don't do Kumole any longer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nono. We have noted all your questions, observations, and suggestions, and it will be answered. Maybe from the last, anybody, the first gentleman.
Good morning, my able chairman, board of directors, regulatory here present, distinguished shareholders. I want to say good morning. I'm Comrade Lawrence Oguntoye, all the way from Ibadan. We are glad to come on, celebrate Ibadan now. Wow. We got to celebrate with you because when I gone through the annual reports, I could see that you've done excellently. And I noticed that the AIICO age now is 68. And at the same time, our 54 annual general meeting is attractive based on the financial indices, despite of high energy costs, persistence of inflationary pressure, and the exponential competitive environment we find ourselves. You've done excellently because professionally speaking, having gone through your reports microscopically, I could see that you've done, the indices is attractive and it's impressive. So I wouldn't want to repeat much, but I'm going to express most of my comments here expressly in order to give others opportunity to speak, because virtually most the comments here, my able papa or brother, that's how has covered much. Let me quickly go to the advice, then I submit to questions. Because I noticed that the financial indices, based on the genius capacity of the board and management at this inflationary period, you are able to make use of the inflationary tools to gear, at least to increase our financial indices strategically. I want to appreciate your strategic performance in that area. Advice. Management should be proactive and strategic in its claims, most especially on increase of a motor policy guideline. As AIICO Insurance serves as financial intermediary, proper transparency and prompt claim should be displayed to our clients and customers to increase their confidence and trust them more. Question straight. How have we been able to manage or maintain regulatory complexity at this macroeconomic pressure in the area of our operation? What measure is being taken to safeguard non-life insurance out of this current inflation? How do we tackle low public confidence in regard of our products so as to maintain, to sustain our profitability the more? The last one, how have we been able to make use of digital marketing effectively and efficiently towards our growth and sustainability? On this note, I would like to appreciate Mr. Tunde Fajemi Roku. I want to appreciate him based on his leadership performance, based on his leadership role. We want to say thank you because your tenure has showcased the best from you. Because, you will remain indelible in our memory. Because in the past, the financial indices are unable to shoot up, but your strategic performance, your genius capacity, shoot it up. And I want to appeal to the House that let's celebrate him for his wonderful performance. Not only that, I want to appreciate the entire workforce that baked this cake. Because from Ibadan angle, most time when we have the meeting and talking concerning AIICO Insurance, you are one of the envious and attractive and also the best insurance in Nigeria. And that one give most of us a professional fellow at least to say something reasonable concerning AIICO, and at the same time to speak to the customers to patronize you based on the confidence we repose in you. And at the same time, I want to appreciate Mr. Donald, able company secretary, because Mr. Boniface said that he's only one is accessible to. He's accessible to every one of us. Likewise, the MD. So we want to say thank you. We want to say thank you. So others, board and management, you just keep it up. And I want to wish the AIICO Insurance better sustainability and profitability. Come what me next year, 55th annual general meeting. Thank you for the opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll go in the second row.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Adio A. Alex Doctor is the name, sir. Yes, it's Pastor Doctor. Hallelujah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I feel delighted to be here this morning. And I'm saying that because of things that are here and history of this company that some of us here seated are familiar with. Let me start by appreciating the board, the management, and especially the company secretariat for holding this meeting physical and virtual. You have given opportunity to people outside this hall to be a party to the development of this company. Mr. Chairman, I will be fast. I look at 07 and 08. I am delighted. I know this is jet age. Not everybody wants to read everything unless it's shorthand. But this is great. This is fantastic. The timeline that has spoken well, historical facts about this company. And I won't pick it one by one, otherwise somebody will be shouting progress. I remember vividly the 2003, and when Shobanjo came on board. This reminds me of the WOW meeting. And some of us, I'm very sure we will be less than 10% here that witnessed that meeting. And from then, I've always been constant here. And it has been growth from one level to the other. Mr. Chairman, I quickly look at page 08, and which is about the profits, the PBT and the PAT. And I can see that if it's only 500, this is an evidence that you are doing prompt payment of your tax. So I think that is equally good. Page number half of the blog platform is fantastic. I move quickly to the financials on 16 and 17. Page 16 and 17, you prepare this document. You should be familiar with this. I'm trying to be fast. The contingency is up. The shareholders fund is up. Retained earning is up. That is an evidence that our financials is solid. This translated to the 5 kobo dividend. But if you look at our EPS, I will only put it this way. There is no way we should not walk around minimum of 10 kobo. As at the level of CFO, there is no question that there's anything that has to do with this company that it does not have at its fingertips. So let me put Wakat around it. Babatunde Okajue.
For the opportunity. My name is Gafar Irinfolami, the youngest shareholder. Who says? So let me start from pages 23 to 32 on corporate social responsibility. I want to know the milestones we have attained in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So secondly, on page 21, we transition from IFRS 4 to IFRS 17. What impact has this one, do we experience on this? Then how much was the cost of transitioning from that, from IFRS 4 to IFRS 17? Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Okay.
This opportunity, I thank you for calling me. And the reason for calling me is because you know that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. Now, Mr. Chairman, like the former speaker said, name is Jibuno Godfrey Uche. I am the National of Shareholder Association of Nigeria. Yes, Mr. Chairman, what the former speaker said, which I still want to add to what he said, I noticed that when we left IFRS 4 to 17, we made huge increase, yes. Mr. Chairman, like he said, I hope we did not incur any litigations or liabilities. I hope everything was well done, and I hope it will not affect us in the long run. Mr. Chairman, also again last year about gender sensitive. It's a very macho board. Although I saw on your CSR you did a lot of things on women empowerment. Mr. Chairman, when are we having more women on the board? Women are our mothers. Always mark Women's Day. When are we having women on the board? Mr. Chairman, I also see that you also, on page 204, you did employment. And I say kudos to you, yes. You employed 123 staffs. Now, when you do that, you feed many people. In Nigeria, at the time of unemployment, you did that. And I can say kudos to you also. I noticed that you also did, what we call meetings. I give you kudos for at least allowing the audit committees to have more than 5 board meetings. That's very good. It's because when there's meetings, you interact and good things being. I would like to congratulate Mr. Benga Ilori for the appointment. Sir, I welcome you. I know, although you have been part, but now you are fully part. I welcome you to the board, and I know that you bring much more impact in us. And like I said, who much is given, much, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. My name is still Chibuno Godfrey Uche, National Youth Leader.
Thank you. We'll take last 1 or 2 questions. I think, gentlemen, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very happy that you have actually called me because there's a particular point I want to raise. Oh, sorry. My name is Oguwale Bukome Benjamin from Ibadan Shareholders Association. Thank you very much. As other people have been saying, Mr. Chairman, 5% 5 kobo dividend is good, but it will be better if it is increased, because 5 kobo from an earning per share of 33 kobo, something ought to be done to it. Now, Mr. Chairman, I was looking at the report to see unclaimed dividend or dividend payables. I was unable to see that until I get to page 187, note 16, where I saw sundry payables, which I think it should be that figure of unpaid dividend or some figure of it. You have actually done well, because that of last year actually reduced drastically. Then I thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. But then it can be improved if you can liaise effectively with the registrars. What actually led to this is this. The last bonus you declared, that 12 for 9, if I could still remember. When the bonus was to be credited to the CSCS account, it was credited to another CSCS account of another stockbroking firm. Get me clear, Mr. Chairman. It was credited to another stockbroking firm. Now, because of this, it will be difficult from one to claim his dividend or when the times come. Mr. Chairman, please, I pray that you liaise with the registrar on this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, the last question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is Evangelist Dr. Antonio Mani Omojola. Let me start from where the last speaker ended. To my fellow shareholders, the unclaimed trust fund has started working, which means your dividends will remain unclaimed is being ordered to be transferred to government quarter anytime from now. So, if you have dividend unclaimed, quickly go to the registrars, go and settle it. Otherwise, once it's transferred to that fund, the process of getting it back is going to be longer and can be very expensive. Your dividend or balances of idle funds in the bank will have been called to question. Thank you very much. Having said that, I'm going to touch just a few things. One of the earlier speakers has spoken about the structure of our directorship. Let's be more corporate compliance, the independent non-executive directors has to be taken care of. We are not compliant in that aspect. We have 10 directors, 3 executive, 7 non-executive. Out of the 7, let us allow 3 to be non-independent, while the remaining 4 can be, 3 to be independent non-executive directors, while the remaining 4 can be non-executive directors. So we have enough to take care of that right now before we are being called to question. I look at the external auditor's report, which is very comprehensive. I'm urging us to look into those areas where they have expressed key audit matters. They are
very with full attention and appropriately. So we still have to answer all your answers. And so my request is we can start with providing explanations and answers to your question. There were one of the common questions which has come from the shareholders is regarding share buyback. And I just want to give a very, although when we are going to put this particular agenda item for motion in this meeting, there's a lot of information and insight going to be provided. But my only point I wanted to say at this stage that why here we are requesting shareholders just to amend the memorandum and articles to give the rights and flexibility that in case if there's a need arise, we don't have to start from the scratch. It is very important for the shareholders to understand that even after the amendment to memorandum and articles, if in the near future we have to go for share buyback, we still have to come back to the shareholders. So this is just the bringing the flexibility and right to the board. We are going to give more explanation, and I'll even request MD to give some more insight. There were some questions related to by our 2 youngest shareholders, that's about IFRS 17, which I will request our CFO, she is here, she is going to provide more insight. And there was some question related to disclosure. I heard that there was an issue of disclosing the subsidiaries directors in the annual accounts, and which I will request our company secretary to answer. So other questions, I will request MD, Mr. Babatunde, to take it up and give some more insight.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, esteemed shareholders. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, as usual. I believe the chairman has provided some context on the share buyback, but I'll just try to provide some clarity. Mr. O's comments on the bonus shares and rights. If you recall, in 2019, NICOM requested that we increase capital to 18 billion. And at the time, it was to do with our share capital and not shareholders' funds. So the company went ahead to do this. That's what accounted for those decisions at that time. Of course, there's now a new insurance bill going through a public hearing today, and they are looking to increase capital again. As you know, the 18 billion was not implemented, but any new company coming into the market needs to be at 18 billion. So that's why you would see 18 billion in our issued capital. So that was the reason for that, sir. The share buyback is not linked to that, but we actually got that advice on the share buyback from you, sir, at the last AGM. I don't know if you recall. And it was related more to our pricing. So, of course, this session is just to update the articles of the company and not to go ahead with the share buyback. If we're going to go with the share buyback, as the chairman said, we'll go through a thorough analysis and provide an explanatory statement in line with the codes in CAMA, NGX, as well as SEC. I hope that addresses the question, sirs. Thank you for that. On trade receivables, I must mention that we tend to get that question every year. It is allowed by law. So the Insurance Act states that a broker can retain premium for 30 days. After 30 days, they must pay it to the insurer. So what you see on our books is compliant with the Insurance Act. So it's not a violation. If you don't see receivables growing, you should actually be a bit worried. Then it means that we're not really growing our business. The key question is whether those receivables are in line with the requirements of the law, and they are. So to your question, sir, I hope that addresses it. On dividends, I know the lacuna and the question in the room. We have noted your comments, and management and board will do better. But please bear with us. We want to see where the new capital requirements will be. Going forward, we don't want to come back to you again for capital increase. Our hope is that we will continue to improve on our dividend policy to achieve close to 40% of our PBT or PAT as dividends going forward. On questions from Mr. Lawrence, I think I'll just capture one or two of the questions. There were questions around regulatory complexities and non-life and inflation, public confidence, and digital marketing. These areas are areas of management focus. I don't want to be going into each and every one of them, but I will say that for regulatory compliance, our compliance headed by our acting Chief Compliance Officer, who is also our company secretary, ensures that we stay ahead of the regulatory requirements, leveraging advanced analytics and risk management tools to align our operations with regulatory expectations while maintaining operational efficiency. I can assure you that we'll continue to watch this space and ensure that we are not liable to fines to our various regulators. We have noted your comments, Mr. Awo, on independent directors, which I think was mentioned by several directors. We've noted your comments on disclosures of directors' fees. We've noted that allowances for directors should be paid earlier. I'm sure our directors will be happy about that. I should note that part of the increase in the fees from one year to the other is related to allowances that are not every year. So some allowances are paid every 2 years, and in some cases every 4 years. So that's what it's reflecting. But we'll show more in the accounts, annual reports going forward. Subsidiary boards as well, we will consider including that within the annual reports. We've noted your comments on CSR, and we do have a policy as stated on page 23, but would always welcome any additional suggestions that we can add to this to improve. And linked to Mr. Gafar's comment, we focus on good health and well-being. We focus on quality education, and that's why we supported schools in Ekiti, in Ibadan, and various other areas of the country. We also have targets for gender equality. We've increased this on the board and will continue to do so. For management, there's been a significant increase and will continue to do so going forward. And our last is decent work, environment, and economic growth. I would now like, I believe I've captured most of the comments. I noted Mrs. Bakari talked about emerging market trends. We will continue to watch this space. Part of what our customers are asking for in Nigeria are dollar policies. Of course, we don't want to dollarize the economy, and because of the CBN requirements, it's not been approved by the regulators yet. But now that we're seeing the federal government raise bonds in dollars, perhaps it's something that we can start to propose, because customers want inflation-hedged policies in order to be able to mitigate some of the risks that they're experiencing. But we'll continue to provide insights on this, and we hope to provide this in the next annual report. On risk management, cybersecurity, we've invested a lot in our cybersecurity. We do regular systems audits. We do employee training. We do advanced, and we've implemented advanced security architecture, and we continue to improve on these areas, especially with the advance of cybersecurity threats now, especially ransomware. I would want, even though I can comment on it, I think it's better so you can see our diversity in AIICO's management on the transition from IFRS 4 to IFRS 17. To show the impact on our accounts, we have two ladies that can answer it. We have Mrs. Bisola Elias or Kio. It's up to you. Who would you like us to present to you to present it? Any one of them? So I'll bring Mrs. Bisola Elias to speak on IFRS 17.
Thank you, MD. Good afternoon, distinguished shareholders. Our IFRS 17 journey actually started about 3 years ago in AIICO. So for over 3 years, we've been, educating ourselves on requirements for IFRS 17. We've been having trainings. We've been trying to understand the impact on our business and all of that. Part of the expenses that you even saw on the payment to directors is actually training. Training on IFRS 17 is actually part of it as well. And then if you look at our books, we have all the transition, impact as it relates to the books. Actually, because of what IFRS 17 requires, the impact on our book is, because we've been trying to understand it, so we've made some deliberate efforts to ensure that the impact on our books is not very adverse, right? So if you look at our GWP, we actually improved significantly for GW, the gross written premium. We are about 110 billion. And if you compare that to the previous year, it is a very significant jump. And if you look at the account also, if you look at the statement of comprehensive income, you will see that that is not what we have reported as the insurance revenue. This is because of what IFRS 17 actually requires us to do. So IFRS 17 really is is kind of more conservative. It means that, especially for our long-term business, and you know our long-term business, which is the retail life business, is actually large. What IFRS 17 requires is that we hold some profits. So we don't release all the profits in time because of the nature of that business. It is holding liabilities, you know, for a longer period. So that is exactly what IFRS 17 has done. And that is the major impact that it has in our books. For the short-term business, it's not very much, you know, different from what we used to do, except that the modality and the methodologies for actuarial valuation is much more different, more conservative and all of that. It is more prudent. And in terms of costs, like I said, the major costs that we have incurred for transitioning to IFRS 17 is actually cost on trainings and then improvement to our technology. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, CFO. I hope that addresses the question. So what I will say also, for those of you that go through the accounts in detail, there's a line item under insurance contract liabilities called contractual service margin. If you notice, that's the increase that has occurred because of IFRS 17. That's profits from the life contracts that we're holding in the books for the future, which will unwind every single year. So if you look at the shareholders' funds for life, it would have dropped because of that increase in liabilities, but it's really a profit. So if you want to really see what it was like under IFRS 4, you would just add back the CSM to the shareholders' funds. I hope that explains it. Thank you, shareholder. I'll hand to the chairman now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, shareholders, for your questions. We take all your inputs, questions very seriously. Thank you, MD, CFO, for the responses provided. It is now time to vote. Like it was stated earlier, voting on items on the agenda will be mostly by poll. I now invite the registrars to explain the e-voting process. Registrars.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, directors, and esteemed shareholders. Once again, my name is Mary Adeleye, and I'll proceed to explain the procedures for casting your votes using the devices provided. Please be informed that we have captured the voting details for 26 shareholders received by proxy, and this represents 26,462,788,470 units, which is 72.29% of AIICO Insurance PLC shares. In addition to the proxies received, we'll be capturing the votes of shareholders physically present at this meeting to arrive at the final voting results. You have been assigned a voting device, and we have configured to represent your shareholding in AIICO Insurance PLC. On our voting parts, button 1, also A, is for yes. Button 2, which is B, is for no. And 3, which is also C, is for abstain votes. Once the voting commences, please press the reference button in accordance with your decision, and note that each shareholder can change their votes during the voting period. But once the voting period has ended, the last button you pressed will be recorded as your vote. In addition, those joining remotely will have a pop-up on remote. Thank you. Sorry about that. So for those joining remotely via the URL link, You wait for a pop-up on your device screen. Once the voting session commences, the voting option for, against, and abstain will pop up on your device screen. Please click on the reference button in accordance with your decision. For, against, or abstain. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, registrars. I now confirm to the meeting that the report of the directors and the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2023, together with the statement of comprehensive income for the year ended on that day, and the reports thereon of the auditors and the statutory audit committee be and hereby laid. Would someone please rise and second the motion? First, take the name.
Thank you, my able chairman. I, Prince Awosanya.
Okay. Thank you.
Prince Awosanya, all the way from Remo Central constituency, I so do.
Okay, thank you. So we will now vote on the resolution, and now voting starts now. We'll allow 5 to 7 seconds for members. All right. Okay. So we can confirm to the meeting that the report of the directors and the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2023, together with the statement of comprehensive income for the year ended on that date, and the reports thereon of the auditors and the statutory audit committee be and hereby laid. The next item on the agenda is the declaration of dividends. Pursuant to the powers vested in her by the provision of Section 426 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 of Nigeria, your Board of Directors is hereby proposing a dividend of 5 kobo per share from the retained earnings account as at December 31st, 2023. Accordingly, I hereby move that the dividend of 5 kobo per share amounting to Naira 1,830,263,801 Naira only, subject to the withholding tax in respect of and out of the profits after taxation for the year ended 31st December 2023 is recommended for payment to members whose names appears in the register as of July 17, 2024. I am just repeating that voting on this item on the agenda will be by poll. We will now vote on this resolution.
Our notice actually confirmed the fact that once we get this approval this minute, payment starts immediately.
Thank you for clarification, Mr. Kano. We are going to start voting on this resolution. I think let us follow the process. We are voting by poll, like we said. Let us use your polling pads. Registrars are going to... Okay, seconded by... Madam, take the name.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Honorable Balogun Oluwatoyin. I seconded the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So the voting begins. Like I said, we'll allow 5 seconds for members to use their voting pads. Voting starts now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The timer is on. The voting is on. Voting starts now. Please press 1 if in support, press 2 if against, or 3 to abstain.
Do the second man.
Thank you.
Registrars.
Mr. Chairman, I'm here.
Yeah, can you announce the result?
We have 15 more seconds to go. It's a 60-second timer, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Voting has ended, and we have 167 shareholders who voted in support of this resolution, and that represents 26,649,126,012 units, while 3 shareholders voted against the resolution with a strength of 50,813. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. With the results announced by the registrars, I hereby declare that the motion in item number 2 has been duly carried. The next item of the agenda is the election and retirement of directors by rotation and re-election in accordance with the Articles of Association of the company. Following the need to continue to comply with the requirements of various regulations guiding your company and also to strengthen your board, in addition to improving on the gender diversity of your board, we commence the search for a director well qualified in several areas, including risk and corporate governance. After a rigorous search and placement process, we identify Mrs. Kemi Adewole as the best hand to join the board and provide additional strategic direction in this respect of the business. With over 2 decades of distinguished board level experience, Kemi Adewole is a seasoned non-executive director, board committee chair, and qualified risk director. Her expertise spans financial services, risk management, and consulting, delivering strategic and operational insight that drive corporate governance excellence and sustainability growth. She is recognized for balancing shareholders' returns with a commitment to purpose and sustainability across various organizations. She currently serves on the board of FBN Quest Trustees Limited as an independent non-executive director and at Pilot Securities Limited as a non-executive director. Kemi also built a successful career in the financial sector, working for a leading global and Nigerian institutions, including Citibank Nigeria, First Bank of Nigeria, where she led several pioneer initiatives, Chartered Bank of Nigeria, where she was responsible for many successful product development. She holds an MBA in marketing from the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and a BSc in business administration from University of Benin, Nigeria. Her executive development is complemented by specialized board training programs, including Harvard Business School, IE Business School, and IMD. She is a qualified risk director and a certificate in risk governance from DCRO Institute. Thank you. I hereby move that Mrs. Kemi Adewole be and is hereby elected a director of your company in a non-executive capacity as an independent non-executive director. Seconded the motion. Gentlemen, first row.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is William Adebayo. I rise to second that motion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We will now vote on the resolution. The voting process starts now on this agenda. Registrars.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please press 1 if in support of the resolution.
Board training programs, including Harvard Business School, IE Business School, and IMD. She is a qualified risk.
We have 25 seconds left for the vote. We have 5 seconds left to the end of the voting period. Voting has ended, and we have a vote from 158 shareholders. We have a vote of 99.98% from 158 shareholders, and we have 2 shareholders that abstained from the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. With the results announced by the registrars on this item, I hereby declare that the motion has duly been carried. Mr. Benga Ilori is an executive director in charge of retail business, the future of insurance penetration in the country. Mr. Benga Ilori is a seasoned professional with over 25 years of progressive work experience in areas that cut across sales, marketing, operations, customer service strategy, and general management. He's a certified insurance practitioner with high financial acumen, matched with a success-driven personality. He is self-directed, highly principled, and a collaborative leader. He is a bold and disruptive leader who's always ready to challenge the status quo for better results. Mr. Benga holds BSc Honours in Actuarial Science from the University of Lagos and Master's degree in Business Administration with a specialization in Marketing from the Federal University of Technology, Akure. He is an associate of Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria and has attended several courses in microinsurance, customer experience, brand management, strategic marketing, product development, business strategy, relationship management, risk management, and finance, both locally and abroad. He is alumnus of the prestigious Lagos Business School. He is also a member of the Technical Committee of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria. Voting on this item, like we said earlier, at this meeting will be by poll. We will now vote on this resolution. Before that, can somebody second the motion? Okay, madam, first row corner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Baka Juliet. I second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now vote on this resolution. Voting starts now. Registrars to monitor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The timer is on. Voting has commenced. Please press 1 if in support, press 2 if against, or 3 to abstain. Thank you. have 10 seconds left to the end of the voting period. The voting has now ended, and we have a total of 171 shareholders with holding 26,494,141,954 units, which represents 97.71% in favor of this resolution. Also, we have 3 shareholders who voted against this resolution, which represents 1.71%. And we have 1 shareholder who abstained, and this represents 0.57%. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. With the results shown by the registrars, I hereby declare that the motion has duly been carried. Mr. Raymond Snyders and Mr. Olalekan Adeyemi are directors retiring by rotation under Article 102 of the Companies Articles and Section 285(2) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Being eligible, have indicated their willingness to stay in office. They also present themselves for re-election. I'll propose their re-election singly. I hereby move that the retiring director, Mr. Raymond Snyder, who is connected online in this meeting, be and is hereby re-elected director of your company. Can someone second the motion? Okay. Number 4th row. 4th row, the gentleman who's turning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is Lawal Wahab Olatunji. I rise to second that motion.
Thank you very much. We will now vote on this resolution. Registrars.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The timer is on now. Please vote according to your decisions. Press 1 if in support of the resolution. Press 2 on your keypad if against, or 3 to abstain. Thank you. We have 20 seconds left to the end of the voting. Voting has now ended, and we have 159 shareholders who voted in support of this resolution, and we have 6 shareholders who voted against it and 2 shareholders that abstained from the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. With the results declared, I hereby declare that the motion has duly been carried. I hereby move that the retiring director, Mr. Olalekan Adeyemi, who is present here, be and hereby re-elected director of your company. Can someone second the motion? Okay, the woman on the 4th row in the 2nd row. Okay. Please.
My leg.
Your name, please.
Mrs. C.O. Obideyi. I second that motion.
Thank you. We will now vote on this resolution. Registrars, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The timer is on. Please, you may cast your vote. Press 1 if in support. Press 2 if against, or 3 to abstain. Thank you. We have 10 more seconds left to the end of the voting. Voting has ended, and we have 170 shareholders who voted in support of the resolution, 5 shareholders against the resolution, and 4 shareholders abstained from the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, registrars. With the results shown by the registrars, I hereby declare that the motion has duly been carried. The next item on the agenda is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. The audit firm, Ernst & Young Professional Services, the external auditors of your company, have performed their duties credibly for the outgoing years. In accordance with Section 401 of the company,
You may press 1 if in support of the resolution, or press 2 on the keypad if against, or 3 to abstain. Thank you.
the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee. In line with Section 404(2) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, Board has elected 2 of its members to be represented on the... Hello? They are Mrs. Samaila Dalad Zubairu and Mr. Ola Lekon Akinyami. As for the shareholders representative on the committee, the secretary reported that 43 nominations had been received by him from members in accordance with Section 404(6) of the Companies and Act 2020. All the 43 nominations were confirmed valid. Of the names, 48 are declared. All the 43 nominations were confirmed valid. However, of the 43 names, 38 have further declared their intention not to contest for the position. That leaves us with 5 members in the race. I'll invite the company secretary to go through the names of the 5 members.
I don't have the names here now. We have 4 names actually. Mr. Adio, Chief Igwe, Chief Njoko, and Mrs. Esther Augustine. Sorry. Yeah. So since we have 4 remaining nominations from the members within the stipulated time, I wish to suggest that we ask the registrars and the auditors to conduct the election to elect members, shareholders. Please note that this particular election will not be done with your PIN pad, so that we avoid a situation of block votes. Let your nominees be the people that you have chosen independently, so it will be by raising of hand, and that will be counted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kano. So the registrar will proceed to conduct the elections. Please sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down. We are starting the election process.
Please, all the people who have been called out, can you stand for your election by your own shareholders? It is the affair of shareholders, and it's going to be handled by shareholders. Where is the fourth person? You are Mr. Adio. Please stand by this side. Stand by that side. Yeah.
Our esteemed shareholders, please let's settle down. Esteemed shareholders, please let's settle down. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please silence so the voting process can start. Please, ladies and gentlemen, maintain silence.
Thank you, shareholders. Our esteemed shareholders, please may we proceed. So we have the first person. Please let's proceed. We have the first name, Mr. Adio. Mr. Adio, please come out. Step forward.
Please, those that are voting for Mr. Adio, can you please raise your hands for counting? Count, 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 count. Are you counting? It's okay, sir, don't worry. It's
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Hold on. Those that are voting for Mrs. Esther Funke Augustine. Can't count everybody. Once you have too many hands, put a figure to it based on the numbers. May I please request that, considering the health situation of your candidate, can she go and sit down, please? Those who are voting for Chief Igwe, and those who are voting for Chief Edmond, please raise your... Finally, as to be expected in a number of political environments, we have an independent candidate who has not been nominated, therefore he's not qualified for elections, in the person of Baba here. Okay, on the instruction of you shareholders, please, those that are in favor of Lawal should please, Mr. Bakare. So do you want to?
No, they have to announce the results.
Yes. Should I? Okay. Based on the election that has just happened, we invite the registrars to announce the results, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, esteemed shareholders. Please, one house. Thank you, esteemed shareholders, for your cooperation. So we have the results. We have the results of the election. For the first name, Mr. Adio had a count of 8. Chief Robert Igwe had a count of 131. Chief Njoku had a vote of 127. And Mrs. Esther Augustine, 158. In the order of the votes, the first name is Esther Augustine, followed by Chief Robert Igwe and Chief Njoku. Those are the top 3 names. Thank you.
Thank you very much, registrars. We have all witnessed the election of members of the Audit Committee. In line with the results as produced by the registrars and auditors, I therefore declare that the following shareholders and directors have been duly elected members of AIICO Statutory Audit Committee until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting in accordance with the provisions of Companies and Allied Matters Act. Number 1, Esther Augustina Funke, Chief Robert Igwe, Chief Njoku Edmund Uzoma, Mr. Samaila Dalhat Zubairu, and Mr. Ola Lekon Akinyemi. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the company's ordinary business to be considered at this meeting. May we now proceed to deliberate on the special business of the day. That the Articles of Association be and is hereby amended to read as follows. That the company may repurchase its shares from its shareholders in accordance with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the Act. That the board be and is hereby authorized to take all the necessary steps to give effect to the resolution. Can someone second the motion? Second row, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, Mrs. Oduson Yaokpe, I rise to second the motion.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? Thank you. Voting on this item on the agenda at this meeting is going to be by poll. We will now vote on this resolution. Registrars, start the voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we'll have the resolution on display. Voting has commenced. Voting has commenced. Please press 1 if you support. Press 2 if against, or 3. Voting is in progress. We have 20 seconds left.
Voted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, esteemed shareholders. Voting has ended, and we have 68 shareholders who voted in support of this resolution with a strength of about 26,618,477,080 units. And we have 2 that voted against with a strength of 49,741 units, and 2 abstained. with a total of 681,000 units. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, registrars. With the results shown by the registrar, I hereby declare that the motion has duly been carried. Ladies and gentlemen, we have dealt with all the formal businesses of the meeting. I would like to thank you once again on behalf of the board for attending and showing so much of interest in the affairs of the company. I hereby declare the meeting closed. Wishing you all a safe trip, journey back to your respective destinations. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace all battle honored, and this we count as the